What is up, guys? What's going on? How are you? Welcome back. It's your boy Hebot. I've been gone for a little while, I know, but I wanted to talk about a subject that I saw 2 days ago, and I kind of addressed him on Twitter, and he didn't really respond, right? Because the way I came at him was aggressive, but with actual factual bulletin points, right? And I'm talking about the nonsense and the stupidity that the so-called quote-unquote gaming media keeps pulling out here in order to keep their channels relevant, right? So they keep on spewing and saying all types of crazy stuff, whether it's rumor-based, I don't care, whether it's inaccurate. Most of the time it's things that are taken out of context or subject matters that are just dumb and really don't make any sense, right? And in this case, I'm talking about none other than Destin Legarie, however you pronounce it. I'm not trying to disrespect his name. I don't know if it's tomato type of case. Either way, Destin Legarie does a video talking about, right, what was the point in buying the acquisition of the ABK for Activision? Well, I don't know why would you say that, because if I'm a gamer and a fan of Xbox and I'm able to follow what's been going on, how is it that you, that have supposed to be someone that's been in the know, that came from IGN, now you're venturing off on yourself, and yet you're still trying to make this type of content that is really not only irritating from an Xbox fanboy's perspective, but it looks so blatantly like you're just trying to stir the pot to start, rhetoric, or start, back and forth banter. And I know you stated it as an opinion piece, but it's an opinion piece in what sense? If you know why, and you know the factors, or at least you're supposed to know. So what I'll do is here, I'll make a quick pause, and I'll start with, this is one of the reasons why, right here. So give me 1 sec. Okay, that was reason number one. The reason you saw right there was reason number one. Why is it that Microsoft acquired Activision and the ABK acquisition was a big deal? Number one, there it is. They were in trouble. Activision was in the precipice of about to become bankrupt, right? They were in the verge of completely selling everything individually, right? Because of the fact that there was all this really bad and upsetting things going on with employers in that moment, and the company itself, with Bobby Kotick supposedly being 100% aware of the abuse and the sexual harassments against women employers in particular. Probably maybe males too, or maybe certain individuals that were, let's say, I don't know, maybe gay or something like that, right? Or of the, that are fans of the other sex, or the opposite sex, or the same sex, whatever. The point is that it led to the point where this woman killed herself. So Activision was going to go bankrupt. Activision was going to try look into selling everything out separately. And even with all this chaos going on, they were still worth $120 billion with a B, right? With a B. And everybody tries to act like they have amnesia, and they forgot that this is why this was done. And the reason why Microsoft acquired them as well is because Microsoft only had 5 first-party in-house studios making first-party games. So because they only had 5 first-party studios making in-house only games, since the 360 era, they needed to make acquisitions to build up their portfolio. Okay, and those 5 were Mojang, Turn 10, the Coalition, which they originally started as something else and then changed their name to Coalition. Right? They had 343s and the ID at Xbox, which they consider that a developer, a first party that finds independent games. And that's how you saw that they started buying people like the people that are doing that did the We Happy Few, and that now have the South of Midnight, Ninja Theory, Tim Schafer's group team that did the Psychonaut series, Obsidian. This is why they started to do these acquisitions, because they needed first-party studios. They didn't have. Sony PlayStation did. Sony had more than 23 or 27 studios that would do first-party products and projects, which is why during the Xbox One era, 2013, and PS4, they were able to come out with some bigger AAA titles, more consistent 3.5 years in, because Microsoft, when they first released the Xbox series, the Xbox One, yes, they had more exclusives, but they were mainly exclusives coming out from third-party deals, because they didn't have first-party, meaning they made it in the deals with these third-party studios. They completely funded the projects and brought out the games and published them, like Titanfall, like Crimson Dragon in the local cycle, like Dead Rising 3, right? Rise, Son of Rome. You know what I'm saying? These were all titles that came from Xbox, but that were exclusive, but were from third party. Not because they were money-hatting, like a lot of people like to say, right? And shout outs to VG Fight School channel, because he likes to use a lot of proof, but sometimes some data and the proof that he has, either he's been misinformed or he just doesn't know, right? But he also claimed that he doesn't really know everything, right? But his heart is in the right place, right? He doesn't try to give false information. The guy's pretty sharp and thorough and and concise, right? So shout outs to him, because he uses the movie he uses that word a lot about money hiding before somebody tries to say I'm trying to rebut or repeat what he says. Anyway, the point is, they didn't money hack. They actually helped these developers because these developers needed help, like Armature Studios when they did Recore, right? They did not have the money. Microsoft funded it and also made a deal to acquire the IP so that they can own it. So if it did well, they wanted to do more games in the future, they would, right? And that's basically the difference between Microsoft and what Sony has always done. what Sony has always done is money had it, because they'll pay for an exclusive game to be exclusive to the console, but they don't necessarily pay or fund the games for developers. They just don't pay for it. They'll literally just pay to market the game that is exclusive for the console. That's it. And that is the biggest difference between Sony doing an exclusive deal with a third party and what Microsoft has done predominantly with a third party deal, right? So if Microsoft didn't have first party studios, it makes absolute sense that they needed to buy more studios to build their portfolio, so they can have more studios behind their actual wing in-house that belong to them, so that way they can keep making more games quicker, more efficiently, and better, to not only feed their gamers and fan base, but to feed Game Pass, which makes 1,000% sense, which is something that the Sony PlayStation does not have, because yes, PSN Network offers a lot of games in their library, but those are predominantly mainly older titles. They don't have day and date and first party exclusives. And when they did, it was maybe one game from an independent studio, and they've only done it once in a while, which I think one of them was Stray, if I'm not mistaken, right? They didn't pay for Stray, they just paid to have it on PSN, day and date, then it released as an exclusive to PlayStation. Then Stray already came out to Xbox, which I own myself, and it came out a while ago. So the fact that you're trying to sit there, Dustin, and trying to say that there was no reason and no point to buy the ABK, it sounds really uneducated and really, really dumb. Because obviously, Phil said in multiple interviews that a company like Activision, that's been around since the Atari and the Odyssey era, in the early 80s, late 70s, right? That they were a moniker, an icon, a legendary developer that's been a publisher in the gaming industry for years, that you wanted to save or protect, so because they are been around for a long time. He wants to help them so they don't have to shut down, because they're an iconic publisher that's been in the industry for so long. Right? Maybe the younger players don't know this, but yes, they've been around that long, since the beginning, and the inception of video games, when it started to gain its momentum mainstream, where people started realizing what video game was more and more, which started with the Atari, right? They published and made so many games on Atari, right? So his intention was, okay, we're gonna benefit by not only having them as a first party and be able to create more games and great games, right? And then on top of that, he's saving their legacy, right? But then he's making the claim of, whoa, what was the point? Because not enough has come out. First and foremost, in a year and a half or 2 years that has been finally finalized, the actual acquisition was finally finalized, right? From court. It does not take only a year and a half or 2 years to make gains back to back to back to back. Even though that's exactly what they have managed to do with most of these studios that they've acquired, including the ones from ZeniMax and Bethesda. They not only released new IPs like the Gunk, or helped release new IPs like the Gunk, Crossfire X, right? Red Falls, like Starfield, Indiana Jones, Valve, right? Doom, the upcoming Doom, Psychonauts 2, Wasteland 3, Ghostwire Tokyo, all these things that were already in place when they acquired all these developers from all these different entities. They not only have managed to meet up with all their contractual obligations because they don't want to get sued, right? They've not only managed to do that, they've managed to bring out new IPs like Hi-Fi Rush, right? Another one. And they've managed to bring out the actual ones that were big and that we've known, like a brand new Minecraft and Minecraft Legions, right? The way they've bringing out a new Doom, the way they help the people that developed Stalker 3 to finish their project as well during a war, right? They've helped people that are independent as well. And they've also managed to get out games like another flight simulator, which is first party, and Starfield, like I said, Redfalls. All these games have come out consistently since all these acquisitions have been done since 2020 or 2021, and it hasn't stopped. Whether the games that may cater to everybody or not does not matter. That's a completely totally different subject matter and totally different subject in general, right? It's a different point. Not talking about whether all those games that were released catered or appealed to every single gamer or masses. That's not how it works. Clearly, we have gamers that like all types of different stuff, but generally, they're catering to every single genre and every single style of gamer, right? And that's what they've done flawlessly. Even with all this actual content war or hoopla or people saying, oh, that Redfall, because a lot of it has been more taking out of context than anything. When they get negative press with a game, it's not that the game is bad, it's because there's more negative content. It's taken out of context or being pushed as bullshit narrative or negative on purpose, because that's how these guys can maintain viewership on their channel and on their websites, right? When it's something online or through social, right? And that's why they do that, because Redfalls wasn't a bad game. It had some issues, but it was something minimalistic, and people still loved it, enjoyed it, and it still managed to sell in like 2 days or 24 hours more than 3 of the most recent PlayStation games released on PS4 and PS5, which that is very impressive. And the game was on Game Pass and still sold well. Just like Starfield sold 6 million copies with their standard version before it was, or their ultimate version, which you had to buy at $100 before it even released on Game Pass, right? The same way they managed to release the juggernaut of all juggernauts with Call of Duty, and still managed to make the biggest numbers in history of Call of Duty that keep growing every year, and they get better and better according to them, right? So what do you mean, what was the point? All they've been doing is pressing money, making non-stop consistent revenue come in, right? Profits, right? Even though the hardware sales are down, as far as the software, they have done nothing but have continuous hardware and revenue money coming in at 100%. It's been making money, growing every time, which is the most important. Hardware doesn't make the money, because a lot of the hardware they sell still, they have a loss. They still lose like $200 per console because of the technology that's still implemented in those, in the hardware itself. The Xbox has built-in, FSR and built-in, capabilities to do Dolby Vision, HDR, Dolby Atmos, surround. It has the ability to be compatible with DirectX 12 Ultimate. It has a lot of future-proof things that not even is available on PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 5 Pro. Okay? Whether y'all want to believe it or not, you can look it up and you'll find it. It's all there. It's all public record. You can find it yourself. It's not me making it up. So, to say that is the most asinine thing and most disingenuous thing you can say, especially since you're supposed to be in the know and supposed to be somebody that's so vigilant and informed in this space. And if that's the kind of content you're going to continue to do, then I don't even know how you're going to continue to grow once people catch on to your disingenuousness. Or if maybe you just like clickbaiting just to stir the pot, to make people angry or pissed off, and they come to the channel just to see what you have to say, and then when you talk, it's just dumb shit or something stupid or a stupid example, explanation. I mean, even in the mobile space, they might not have made new stuff like you mentioned, but they still making money because the mobile space always makes money because it's cheap. And everybody in the goddamn world has a phone. So that's a stupid comparison. People on phones are not real gamers that play like in the general sense that actually love, adored, and grew up with games. No. Mobile gamer is a casual person that will play a game on the phone to keep occupied on the way to work, waiting in a doctor's office, or in during lunch break. Maybe if they go for a walk in the park, while they're walking, they'll play a fucking game or something like that. And those games generally cost $2, $3, $1, $5, sometimes 50 cents, 75 cents. I got a phone. I know the prices just like anybody else can go look it up. So if you put $1 for one game and 2 billion people buy it, that's still 2 billion people, $2 billion that they make from a $1 game. So it's still a profit from one game. Okay? If 2 billion people buy a $1 game, that's still $2 billion in profit. And since they own, Kings, whatever, the main ones that make Candy Crush, they get every fucking single star, returns and revenues and profits go to them, directly to them. They don't have to share with anybody else or the third party or another, a third party like, a store like a Best Buy's or Walmart or GameStop. No, they just develop it themselves as percentage, even if they own them, right? That gets to the team. And then the rest goes to the Xbox division itself, the rest of the 70%. Okay? So that tells you that it's a win-win no matter what. So how are you going to sit there and do this type of article and then expect for people to still take you seriously, still think that you are genuine, still think that you are worth the time? And unfortunately, the truth is people do go to your channel and believe your rhetoric and believe your pot stirring topic, that because you're trying to be slick. In other words, you try to act like you care about Xbox, and in reality you don't care about Xbox because you're more of a PC guy and you love PlayStation 2 because that was indoctrinated in you while you were at IGN, right? And you also came out and said, God of War is one of the greatest games for me that I've had or I've enjoyed. When God of War comparison to the original trilogy and series that's been out for many years since the PlayStation 2, the new God of War is a joke. It's more of a movie and hold your hand. It's not really a difficult game. It's not really the same God of War in the sense. It's not a hack and slash beat 'em up anymore, because you do more RPG stuff and platforming, and your battle system is so weak and so simplified that it's boring. And so many cutscenes. It's just boring. Okay? Boring. Graphics, yeah, it's nice. Okay, it should be because it's new generational games. And same way like the cutscenes, yes, the story should be interesting, but the game's boring. So in many cases, a lot of people are just not even going to bother to beat it or finish it because it's boring. So they're not going to be able to see the rest of the game and enjoy the story if the game's boring, because the gameplay is not captivating enough and interesting enough or intriguing enough to keep you wanting to play. Especially if you played the originals and are a fan of those, like especially in comparison to like God of War 2, 3, and even Ascension. Even though Ascension was, really hated at the time, it's still a really solid game with some fantastic cinematic pieces and action and gameplay, right? So I really don't understand why you do this, but you saying that just comes off as you being disingenuous, because everybody knows that Microsoft did not go to them. They came to them, as far as Activision. And yes, they've been doing nothing but profit since they got Activision. And now you're starting to see that with games like Tony Hawk Pro, Pro Skaters 2 and 4 or 2 and 3 coming out remastered, right? And eventually we'll see other things hopefully, hopefully, which I'm pretty sure with time, like maybe new Crash Bandicoot games or Spyro games, right? But it takes time, because in 2 years or in a year and a half, that's not enough time to come out with so much stuff, even though they still have brought out things. Because Microsoft just doesn't own them. They own all those other studios now, and they've made all those other acquisitions. You're making it seem too like that's all they got, and that because they got money. Just because they have money doesn't mean that they can speed up the process. That's not how that works. Developing games and game creation, it takes time. It's a very tedious process. Okay? Very tedious. It takes years and years and years, and it's very tedious. And the more people that you work with, the harder it is, because it's more people you got to still communicate with. I personally feel the less people it is, you'll get better results, with a better game, more solid, even though the game may not be, let's say, 30 hours long, right? You see it in games like Hellblade. You see it in games like the newly released Split Fiction, right, from Joseph Ferris' team at Hazelight Studios. Phenomenal. And they're only 80 people, right? Which is a big difference from what you normally see. And that will also probably avoid the bigger chance of having to close down if the game doesn't do well or doesn't do too good. At least it's not as hard to stay open, because there's not as many employers that you got to be accounted for, and you can give them another chance to make another project, another game, and fund it and see if they have luck with their next game, right? As an example, right? The more people you have, I think the harder it is to keep a studio open, because it's just, there's no way you're going to be able to pay them and continue any projects beyond that, especially if that project failed. So guys, like I was saying, sorry to be, I got interrupted, but sorry about that. All I'm saying is, if you guys want to keep on not calling people out like him and supporting him, then good luck with you, because you're being bamboozled and you're being misinformed, and that's crazy. That's crazy. Like I said, everybody knows that the acquisition has been more than fruitful to this point, and that's one of the reasons why they want to keep putting more games from Activision on PlayStation and probably even Nintendo, or the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2, because they want to keep making those profits, because money is important. Because if you don't, at this time in place and in time, especially with the cost of games being as high as they've been, then you're kind of being, you're taking a big risk, and it is kind of irresponsible as far as your decision if you're supposed to be in a business, company that knows how to make money and not fail. You have to be careful with these types of decisions, right? So again, I'm saying this to you guys to be aware and open your eyes and just, call these guys out, because we know we've been there since 2013 when nobody cared and everything was all negative, even though Xbox never did the DRM. And Xbox never did things like Spy with the Kinect. They actually gave you the ability to take it off after a year. They had to reprogram the whole structure of the OS, and then it finally gave you the ability that you could use it without the Kinect. These things never happened, and people still flowed with it and pushed it like, yeah, look at this. You can't, own your games on Xbox, so this DRM, when it never happened. Since launch, since day one, it was taken out. It never happened. You understand? Or things like, like I said, Connect being available. So like I was saying, guys, I lost my train of thought. I had to stop there. Sorry about that. Just, like I said, these guys are the continuous problem. Just like they keep on pushing the rumors of Gears of War collection coming to everything, even though that's never been confirmed. And again, acting as if every single game like Starfield, Flight Simulator, Gears, Halo, everything's coming from Xbox going to PlayStation, when that's not what Phil Spencer said at all. He never said that at all. Just like they took out of context what Peter Moore just said in Radio Talk or Talk Radio with Danny Pena in Paris, saying how he said something about if Microsoft didn't want to do, if they had a choice, they wouldn't make no consoles because it's pointless. That's not what he said. What he was talking about is based on the circumstances of things being so expensive and a lot of things not doing well, that they would probably be best off not making a console, right? Because it'll save them, money that they could put towards software and getting it to more people through the services in different places with different devices. And you can still get people in your ecosystem to play your games without the need of the hardware, because the hardware is more expensive. That, and it takes a lot of revenue. That's what he's referring to when he said that. And that's what he was saying. No, everybody's like, oh no, they don't care about consoles. Like making it seem like they don't care about consoles, they won't make one. They wouldn't make one because they don't really want to. They're just doing it because they have to. No, because I'm going to talk about hardware consoles and that, and why it's needed also in another video soon. Again, those are the things that irate me. And I know I don't do much videos, but I'm paying attention to everybody. I know what's going on. Like all these PC guys also getting involved, trying to act like they're pro Xbox, but a lot of them used to hate Xbox back in 2013 because they didn't like that they wanted you to buy games from their own store, because when you bought it from their own store, you couldn't just go use Linux to go pirate the games and things like that, because they pirate the shit out of things like Quantum Break and got caught when they put that little thing in there to show that you pirated it and things like that used to annoy them, right? And then as soon as Microsoft started catering to them and took those walls down, all of a sudden, oh, I love Xbox. You fucking hypocrites. Stop. What y'all love is the people in all these companies to cater to y'all when the PC community is growing. Yes, it has grown, but it's not the reason why games are where they are today. Games are where they are today because of console and console gamers. That's a fact, 100% fact. Let's not get it twisted. So anyway, that's a subject for another video. Anyway, so guys, those are my thoughts about Dustin's actual latest video and topic. It rubbed me the wrong way. I feel like he's just acting like he's dumb for the point of getting the views and not really caring, even though he really knows. I don't know what it is because I'm not in his head, but I have a feeling that he's just faking it just to get the views and to be a troll, to be an asshole, to be a troll indirectly and basically and thinking people are stupid and they're not catching on and fall for the clickbait. But I called him out on it and he stood quiet, and I showed him graphs and charts and reasoning why he didn't say anything. So that just tells me either he thinks he don't need to answer me, or he knows if he answers me and he don't have the right answers, then I rebuttal him publicly, like on Twitch or Twitter, let's say, right? That I might get under his skin, prove him wrong, make him look like a dumbass, or it's like he's stupid or slow or don't know shit, and then that's going to make him look bad, even though he has a big following. So I don't know what it is or whatever the case may be, but he hasn't answered me, okay? And I came in on it hard. I put it down. I laid it down, just like I do to a lot of people, and then they'll stay shut and don't say nothing, right? Because you're not going to pass a fast one by me. I've been here since 2013. I've seen everything. And I was the first one being the most vocal alongside people like Next Gen, 100, Sega Forever, Sega Man. The very few that people don't pay attention and haven't the way that they should have. And everything we said, we held it down and we were right. We were right. We weren't wrong. We were absolutely right. Right? And we held it down. And now people are trying to act like saying the same message we were saying then, like it's something new or that they just noticed, right? And trying to take credit for it, acting stupid or acting slick. When me and many of the few others that I said around the ninth table of our circle, we're the ones doing it first. Okay? We're the ones doing it first. You know what I mean? Even people that are ponies, like the people at the weapon wheel, they were there first. It wasn't nobody else. And you see all these people now trying to represent either Sony or Xbox that haven't been in this situation since 2013 trying to say that console wars is stupid when there's a difference between console war and calling out bullshit, especially when it comes to Sony. See? There's a difference, a big difference. And yes, console war is healthy and can exist if you do it in the way it was supposed to be meant to be done, in a fun way. Like pointing out why a console is better than another, not just what exclusive, but what you can do if a game looks better because of this, or because these features, because this technology, and things of that nature. In a fun way, the way we did in the arcades, and the way we did at home when we used to come and gather together to play together locally in our homes since we were young. Nothing wrong with that. It's like sports talk. Have a good time, argue. Yo, my team's better than yours. Yeah, we did this. Yeah, we have this many rings. Yeah, we have these players. We have players with the best stats. Whatever the case may be. It's all in good fun. True console war. It's not because we're older and, oh, you guys are ignorant, you're being... No. It's supposed to be fun. It's part of the culture. It's part of the ecosystem of gaming. It's always been there, and it makes sense. I mean, Peter Moore just pointed it out in the actual interview, and you didn't see nobody trying to say something bad about what he said. Nobody rebutted or try to argue with what he said or question what he said. No, because they know Peter Moore's a legend in the industry, a person in the know that did many things. He saved Sega, he saved Xbox, he saved Reebok. For Christ's sakes, the man went and he coached not only his favorite team of all time in soccer, but he made them champions as well. Now he went to freaking Unity and he's doing things over there, helping making that Unity engine and company more efficient and better for a lot of people in the gaming industry that are independent. The man just knows what he's doing. And when he does it, he gives 110%. And he shows that he cares when he puts his mind into his job. He really, everything that man has done and has gotten, he's deserved it without question 100%. And he deserves more. He really deserves more, right? Because he's always kept it real and never ever swayed. Ever. So guys, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below with my thoughts with what I've talked about. I know the video is long, but again, I had a lot to take out of my chest to try to say or convey in this message or in this video. And I hope it was insightful and entertaining, as always. Keep me in prayers. My health is not well. I got other things that popped up, and, it's part of the diabetic syndrome. It just goes from one thing to another. I'm trying to do everything I can to help myself more naturally with more natural agents instead of, all these medicines and doctors that always give you the runaround because they just want to make money out of you and really don't care, right? Because, it's designed to keep you hurt so that you can die eventually, at some point. They don't really care about your health. The business of medical field is, multi-billion dollars. They care about the money. It's all a big business. So I'm trying to find solutions and answers and help naturally to get, and it's helped a little bit. I just need to inform myself a little more. So keep me in your prayers so that your boy Hebot lasts a little bit longer or a lot longer, hopefully, right? But, I'm just trying to keep it real with you guys. I love you guys. I'm very grateful. Thank you for everything you guys have done for me. Thank you for continuing to stop by. For those of you that stopped talking to me, I still have much love for you because I don't care about your political views or values versus mine. That has nothing to do with whatever friendship we establish, or doesn't have nothing to do with whatever friendship we had when we, either communicated or interacted with each other. I judge and base people on how they treat me and the love that they've given me. And that's it. That's all that matters to me. Like I said, we're supposed to have different points of views and likes and tastes. That's called being human, and that's why it's called our human right to like certain things like foods and certain women and music and cars and clothing and video games, right? So again, it all coincides together. Love you guys. Let me know what you think. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Leave me a thumbs down if you didn't. Share the video with somebody you think might like it. As always, For you or anyone that comes in that's new, thank you for stopping by. If you took the time to listen to me, I'm really grateful. And if you subscribed or comment or leave a like, I'll be even more grateful, because I know you didn't have to, but since you did, I consider you now part of my family. Just remember that. And I hope that you continue to stop by, right? I know that I don't post more frequently, but I promise I'll try the best I can based on my ability, right? And as always, for those of you, like I said, that always been there, I love you. Without you, my channel would not be sustained. And I'm grateful and humble from the bottom of my heart that you still take the time to come listen to me. Whether you agree with me or not, sometimes it doesn't matter. You still show me that you care. And that's big enough for me, or sufficient enough for me to continue to do these, right? I'll see you guys soon. Have a great and blessed day and week, because today's Monday, so it's very beginning of the week. I'll see you guys. All right, bye, peace.